Hey guys, you got to be asking yourself, why are you at the back of the car? I thought we were doing a front floor and working on firewall stuff. Yes, we are. But before we do that, we have a lot of gas in this tank. I need to get this out. Also, the lines run right underneath that floor we got to replace. So I can't have anything that's going to explode and possibly destroy my boss's shop in the way. So we're going to remove all this stuff so none of that happens. And never mind the pole jack precariously helping hold Bear up on the rack because he has no weight in the front end. All right, those of us who are in the Rust Belt up north here and salt states, we can be jealous of this because, man, is this nice, right? A little bit of surface rust come right off with a Scotch-Brite pad. Look, even the anti-vibration stuff is still here. It's crazy. Anyways, over here, we've got fuel lines, brake lines. There's a vapor line back there. Got all that stuff out of the way. We come over to the car itself. Now this is kind of wet in places because I hit it with the hose just to get some of the dust off. But I mean, this stuff is amazing. I mean, it's you've seen it before if you've seen the other videos. But man, when you get the tank out, there's nothing that needs addressed except for maybe a coat of paint. And we come forward, here's the passenger floor from underneath. You can see all the speed holes here. Yeah, a little thin in areas, but it's only in this one section, not the whole thing. So we'll see how much we're gonna patch. I'll show you the inside. You can see how rusty and crusty everything is inside here. This recessed area is what would hold water. So obviously water's gonna do what water does. And you know, if it was a Pennsylvania car, there wouldn't be a floor here at all. So we're looking pretty good. The inner rockers, really good. We have a good foundation over here, even up through there. It's just we got to get this out and replace it. So Steve sent me a package. Let's go check it out. Yeah, look at that, huh? Nice. As you saw, I was cutting small chunks here and there. Don't want to get carried away and cut more than you need. It's a little harder to put metal back than it is to just take a little bit at a time. So we got a brace here we got to keep. I just followed the seam here. This here was just kind of eyeballed. We're gonna work into that. I kept it close to the inner rocker. We got a piece here that still has to come off. It's spot welded, so we'll break those welds, get that off, be able to clean that up. So looking good so far. Okay, update where we're at so far. I got the hole cut out. I got the pan put in place. As you can see, I cut about a third or half of the pan off. Don't need that, at least not yet. We're going to go ahead and clean up all the steel around where we will be welding. Also, I'm going to trim this edge down a little bit. I don't want it that high. And this here is not too bad. It's pretty solid, but we might reinforce that with this guy. So let's keep trucking. Another update, we got the reinforced floor up here. Now guys, keep in mind, I'm a master mechanic. I am not a master welder, but that'll do. It's solid. We'll clean it all up when we're all done, but we're gonna go ahead and lay our floor in, tack it down with the zip screws, and then I'll make some spot welds or tacks and just work my way around. All right, got the butt weld over here done. It's welded, looks pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and set the grinder to stun though and clean that all up. This here is done. There's a few tacks along this edge, but what I'm gonna do now is go underneath the car and get this part that goes up against the inner rocker. Okay, so I plug welded this guy, and then we welded this bracket back to the floor. Everything looks great. This, I'm gonna try to keep it looking a little bit original. We're gonna go ahead on the top side and fill that groove in with seam sealer. That'll keep it airtight and watertight. What do you think, guys? I'm happy with this. Looks good. We're done. Well, when I say done, I mean we still need to take a grinder and just clean up the welds a little bit. It's actually pretty good. I built a bridge here. There's a strap, this piece that connects this piece and this piece. Just wanted to reinforce that a little bit. We're gonna get some seam sealer. We're gonna put it in this groove here and probably on top of all the welds, just because there's always that one pinhole you miss and we don't want water in here at all. So once we do that, we'll be moving on to this nasty old firewall. We got to get this cleaned up, get all the old seam sealer off. Just clean this up, pour 15 it, and then let's get that guy reconnected to this guy. So we'll catch you in a bit. All right, one last look at this floor and we're done, okay? Primer, paint, it's protected. I actually had some white paint laying around, so we threw that on there. That'll keep it from rusting for the time being. what we're gonna end up doing probably is putting some of that kill mat down, and you won't see this anyways. This could have been pink paint and it wouldn't have mattered. So looks great. Now this firewall. Hey guys, I got a tech tip for you. I saw this on the internet, thought I'd try it. I took an old file and I put an edge on it on my grinder. And I've been using this guy for about an hour and a half on this firewall, chipping away, seam sealer, RTV, you name it. It is cutting right through it. It is chipping it right off. It doesn't flex. And like I said, the edge is still on this thing. It works great. Again, I can't take credit for this. It's just, I'm sharing. So let's keep on trucking and get this done. All right, firewall, bare steel, big deal. Hey, that rhymed. We're gonna go ahead and prep this for pour 15. The cowl on the side here, we're not gonna touch this till we get into body work because this is gonna be painted white again. We're not worried about that. This is all gonna be that satin black tunnel floor, right? We're not gonna touch this side. As far as up here where it hits the wiper cowl is up in here, we're gonna come up with the pour 15 and just creep over this edge and stop. We'll apply more later on in the restoration, but I just wanna be able to have this done so we can get that frame under there and move on. All right, the story so far on Bear. Yesterday I got really dirty, but Bear got really clean. So I cleaned up all that crusty stuff underneath at least the front third of his underbody and the firewall. That evening I ran out to the parts store, grabbed some seam sealer, sealed up the firewall. That way this morning that stuff would be cured or close to it so we could apply our pour 15. Went ahead and used the cleaner degreaser, hosed that off. Then we used the metal prep, hosed that off. Now we're just waiting on everything to get bone dry so we can paint this stuff on. Now, if you don't know anything about the pour 15, it's a great product. Check out my other video on it. Give you the overhead view of how to use it. And yeah, that's about it. Let's go. Firewall look terrific. You know, a lot of hours into something nobody's really ever going to see, but you know, we know it's there, and I'm thrilled with it. It looks great. We did 2 coats of the Pour 15. We did 2 coats of the top coat. The semi-gloss finish looks really good. So our next step is let's make this guy a roller again. Let's get that subframe. All right, so maybe you want to replace your bushings if they look like this, right? Good idea. And these are really OEM style stock bushings you can get aftermarket that are the fancier stuff, but we're dealing with OEM type stuff. The smaller bushings are going to be up here for your rad support, and the taller ones, when you put them together, are going to be for the cowl. This is right at the firewall cowl area. Now, the medium-sized ones here, these are going to be underneath the vehicle, back by the floor. So that's about all there is to it. You're going to want to go ahead and clean up your bolts or replace them, depends. Originally, they had thread locker on these bolts, so you may want to do that. Some guys are saying put anti-seize. I mean, I guess that's a good idea if you're going to have the car apart a bunch of times. But if you're going together for good, put some thread locker on there. That's about it. So let's get this positioned and get it bolted to the car. All right, this will be the area where the cowl is. So this bushing's going to go like so. Back here at the floor area, that bushing's going to go there. And what you're going to notice on these vehicles, right here is a 1/2 inch hole. It's perfectly a 1/2 inch. There's one on this side, there's one over there. What I found that works really good, now these correspond to a hole that's on the body of the car. So when we're going together, get yourself a piece of thick walled copper tubing, 1/2 inch. This stuff works perfect for this. It's a nice snug fit, especially if you got some Pour 15 or paint on there. And before you snug everything up, I mean tighten these bolts, make sure this is lined up into the hole in the body. All right guys, can't stress enough that might be a good idea to have a helper for this. I'm a one-man show, so we're gonna wing it here. Not very safe. I don't have jack stands under it. I've got 2 floor jacks holding Bear up because I can get him low enough so where he's kind of level. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and put our bushings on the tops of the subframe. Then we're going to roll him under and do our best to line everything up. Okay, you can see my my alignment tool, my copper tubing going through the subframe, then into the body here in this pocket. On this side, same deal. I'm just going to start these bolts a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna go do the other side. Speaking of the other side, this is the driver's side. See how that threaded plate is in a captured little cage so it won't spin. Well, the other side, during disassembly, didn't go so well. The cage actually broke and the threaded plate started to spin. So, just an FYI, that threaded plate can be held with a 1.5 inch wrench. If you can get it through here and lay it in there, that'll hold it while you're tightening. All right, so that threaded plate's just sitting in there. We're gonna go ahead and feed this up through here. Start this one. Now we got to get on a creeper and start those back ones. So underneath the vehicle, you can see how far away we are from the floor, and that's where these floor jacks come into play. All right, we're much closer now. Let's go do the other side. So again, guys, I'm not using jack stands. This is dangerous, so do what I say, not what I do. Be careful. All right, we got all 4 started. Let's torque them down. All right, so now what you want to do, get yourself some vice grips. Don't take a chisel and a hammer and try to hammer this pipe back out. It's just going to deform the top and it's going to make it that much more difficult to get out. Just clamp it with some vice grips. A little spinning action here. There you go. Might even be able to use this to fix your wife's sink still. Guys, we'll go ahead and end it off there. This was a fun episode for me because, man, I got a lot of stuff done. Floor, firewall, frame, everything's reattached. He is a roller once again, so doesn't steer too well. We're going to throw his old column back in there. That way we can get him around the parking lot. But we're going to stick to the game plan. We're going to move on to the rest of the underbody and the rear suspension. We got some stuff to do back there. Should be pretty cool. New bushings for the springs. New shocks. We got to pull that differential down and rebuild it. There's an excessive amount of play in that pinion bearing, so opening that up, inspecting everything ought to be a good time. So do me a favor, like, subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.